What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here with the review for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. This is the reunion, season 1 reunion, part 1. You guys, man, I didn't realize my notes were that long. All right, you guys, this was a good one. So, in the words of my girl Keisha from Color Me Pink, I'm gonna give this episode an A+, because it was good. So you guys, without further ado, let's get into this reunion, shall we? All right, you guys, so now I'm actually recording Salt Lake City's review before I record my sister's review, but you guys will get them in the order in which they came on. So sisters will be first, Salt Lake City second. So we start the reunion. Once again, the looks, terrible. The only look that I kind of like is Meredith's look. That's the one look that I kept looking at that I couldn't get past. And I will say a close second, although I did hate her dress, is Whitney. And the only reason why I like Whitney's dress is because her boobs look nice. You know, she said she got her boobs lifted, so her boobs look nice. Jen, she looks like some kind of cracked out figure skater. Heather, that dress was too frumpy looking. Mary, God, what was that Mary had on? And Lisa, what was up with her hands? Her hands and forearm was orange. She had tanned. I'm like, how long did you sit in the tanning salon? You look like that video. If you guys, because somebody actually tweeted it, and I was like, you are so correct. Stupid Girls by Pink back from 2006. She looked just like Pink when she went and got that orange spray tan. But yeah, so they didn't look good. Andy, he finally has a haircut. Thank God. Andy looks better with a haircut, I will say that. So before we actually get into the reunion, you know, we just talk about the girls, how the season was. Season was phenomenal. Now here's the thing that got me, because Andy was talking to Whitney about not having a stripper pole. He was like, he wants lessons, and Lisa was like, yeah, I want lessons too. I'm like, really? But you spent the whole entire season shading her about the stripper pole, about her dancing, everything, but you want lessons from her. So then we find out that Heather has gotten a DM from my girl Rihanna. I'm like, okay, Riri letting y'all know she, in her spare time, because she ain't gonna give y'all no music, in her spare time she's watching, Real Housewives, Love and Hip Hop, stuff like that. I love that Rihanna is just a down-to-earth girl. I really do like that about her. Then someone asked Mary the question, were there no black hairstylists in Utah? She said no. And that, when she was doing it, she just pulled out a wig. You should have threw that wig in the trash can. Just saying from, just keeping it real with you. Next time, throw it in the trash. Or next time, Actually, Mary, what you can do now is, since you are on this show, I'm pretty sure your followers have gone up. What you can do is get get one of these people that is on Instagram, Twitter, whatever, to style you a nice wig and send it to you. Promote them. She's talking about how it hurt her. God, I know people don't like Mary. I do know that, but you guys, Mary is good. She's good. And the reason why I'm just coming on here so late is because I was watching her on Watch What Happens Live. Mary is a hoot. I gotta say that Mary is a hoot. You guys actually might hear oh God, I hope you guys don't hear that TV in the background, because I just heard it. So yeah, then they talk about the Mormon community and the swingers and the polygamy. Now they say that there is no polygamy, but there are swingers, which are not a part of the Mormon community. I don't know, but let's move on. That's the beginning of it, and then we're gonna get deeper into the reunions. So stick around, you guys. All right, you guys. So the one thing I want to say before we even get into the reunion, I get we are in COVID and whatnot. And I actually don't like their set. I actually kind of hate their set, to be quite honest with you. But, this is the third reunion where we've done this format, right? This is the third reunion because Atlanta's reunion last season was virtual, and Beverly Hills reunion was virtual as well. New York's reunion was the first reunion in person. Then Potomac, and now these. Actually, this is the fourth reunion because first was New York, then Potomac, then OC, and now Salt Lake City. Okay, so the fourth reunion where we've had this format where the ladies, where it's so much space, and I get it, it's COVID, but I really do miss the couches, you guys. I miss the couches. Where they have all the ladies cramped on one couch. I want to put, well, they're going to do the same thing for Married to Medicine, but let's go on and get into the show. So, we started talking about Meredith, how she felt that Jen was picking on Brooks about his fashion line. And this is going to be the one and only time that I defend Jen. Oh God, I can't believe I'm going to say I'm going to defend Jen. I am about to defend Jigsaw. I'm about to defend Jigsaw. It's got to be a cold day in hell. Actually, you know what? It is cold outside in Texas, so you know what? All right, so yeah, Jen was talking about they were talking about the fact that Jen said that one tracksuit is not a fashion line. I'm sorry, Meredith, but it's the truth. Just because one tracksuit, that's not a fashion line. Like, look at my girl Beyonce, what she's doing with Ivy Park. That's a line. She has multiple, she has multiple outfits, not just one, and they're not the same. They don't look the same. So I'm going to defend Jen in that situation. Then she also says that Jen attacked, Brooks on social media, and that the fact that she kept calling him a kid. He's not a kid. He's a grown ass man. So the Jen also addresses the party. Someone asked a question of Jen about, was it kind of self-absorbed for her to throw the party that was supposedly for Meredith for herself. She says no, she didn't think that it was self-absorbed. She said, she felt like since she was throwing the party, she just wanted to incorporate some of her culture. Well, love, if you're incorporating some of your culture in a party that's for your friend, then that said party is about who? You. Now, Meredith, it was like, when Jen said she was throwing this party, she wanted it to be inclusive of Lisa because Jen actually threw the party on Lisa's birthday. And I'm like, dang, so you were double effed up. You were supposedly throwing a party for Meredith's birthday, but it wasn't Meredith's birthday. It was Lisa's birthday, and then the party was all about Jen because you had to make the grand entrance. So you were doubly jacked up in this situation. So then Lisa is talking about how she felt away at the party because of Heather, saying that Heather was being dismissive to her, and that when she spoke to Heather, Heather had her back to her. And she said, roll back the footage. And, Heather got in her feelings about that. But I'm like, Heather, when they roll back the footage, I'm like, Heather, she's telling them to roll back the footage, but the footage shows something different than what she's saying. Because when Heather got there, she spoke to Meredith, and Brooks was there. And then she saw Lisa, and she tried to speak to Lisa, and Lisa was scurrying off to try to avoid her. So who's really the dismissive one here, Lisa? Is it Heather or is it you? Because from what the footage showed, it was you that was dismissive. And it was in that moment when I noticed her tan. So Andy actually was wanting to move on from this conversation with Heather and Lisa. But Lisa was like, no, we're not going to move on. I'm like, oh, Andy, she just told you what you not doing and you her boss. Okay. It was interesting to me. But I'm going to move on, you guys. All right, you guys. So next up, we are going to talk about Whitney. So a viewer asked a question about Whitney, how does she, what does she think about Lisa? The way Lisa treats her. So Whitney says that she feels that Lisa thinks she's better than her, and Lisa says, "No, I don't think that I'm better than you. I've never said that. I've never insinuated that. I've never done any of that." Yes, you have. You've done that this entire season. That's what you've done. You've talked down on Whitney left and right. Actually, we've talked down on Whitney and Heather left and right. So yes, ma'am, you very much do think that you're up here and Heather and Whitney are down here. Because I mean, at the 20s party, you were like, why does there need to be a stripper pole here? At Sharif's birthday party, you talked about the fact that Whitney was dancing. You are judgmental. Like, I don't know what delusional world Lisa is living in. And then they did bring up Sharif's birthday party, and Lisa says she felt it was inappropriate for Whitney to dance like that in front of someone else's husband. And the crazy thing is, Jim was okay with it because Jim's like, I was the one that was holding her legs wide open when she was, on a handstand. So I was cool with it. And then Heather once again chimed in. I'm like, you know what? I actually got to give a round of applause to Heather because Heather was the one. It was two people, not four. It was two people that was giving it to Lisa in this reunion, part one. And that was Heather and that was Mary. We're gonna talk about Mary in a little bit, but it was Heather and Mary that was sticking it to Lisa. So Heather clocked her, said, "But weren't you also the same one who did the splits in front of Sharif at his own birthday party?" And they showed never before seen footage of her hitting the splits in front of Sharif. Now, if Whitney just break dancing and doing all that stuff is inappropriate, you doing the splits in front of a married man. What does that say? Exactly. I mean, it's a party. What do you? It's a party. If I'm throwing a party and you come to my party and you just hugging the wall the whole entire time, actually, I'm gonna ignore you. I'm gonna really ignore you. But I'm gonna just be like, why did you come to my? Actually, I might ask you, why did you come? If you're just gonna sit here and hug the wall, like, have fun, enjoy. Like, that's what this is. This is a festive event. Why are you holding the wall? It makes no sense to me. Like, if you invite me to go out with you somewhere and you just up against the wall like this the whole time, I'm gonna look at you and be like, why did you invite me here? This is supposed to be a fun occasion for us. If we drinking, turning up, let's do it. But whatever. So then someone asked Mary about that tacky loofah dress that she had on. She defended that. She defended it, talking about it was off the runway and not everyone can fit it. Well, girl, just because it's off the runway don't mean you need to put that shit on either, right? Because it was tacky. It looked like a loofah scrub. It looked like a Christmas tree ornament. It looked ridiculous. But hey, if Mary loves it, if Mary likes it, I love it. We're going to move on. All right, you guys. Next, we move over to Jigsaw. Jigsaw was annoying me. Because I'm talking about Jen, by the way, you guys, if you haven't figured it out. So we're talking about Jen. Jen is an interesting one, just like Mary is. So they showed the package, and in the package, when they were showing the package, you noticed that Heather was crying. So once the package ended, Andy asked Heather, he said, you got emotional during that package, like, what was that about? And she said, oh, my dad passed away in April. I'm not, you guys, I am laughing, but I'm not laughing at Heather. Mary is interesting. Mary's an interesting person. So Mary said that her dad passed away in April as well, and Mary is just sitting there with a smile on her face. I didn't understand it. I'm like, your father passed away in April and you're sitting here. I'm like, how are you smiling and your father passed away in April? I didn't get it. Because you guys know my mom passed away, and whenever I talk about my mother, I don't smile. I cry. Or I try not to cry on camera, but I don't ever smile when I do smile when I think about my mother, but I don't ever smile when I talk about my mother's passing. Again, Mary is interesting as crap. So a viewer asked Jen about her plastic surgery journey. Child, Jen sat there and lied through her teeth, talking about the only thing that she's done is some Botox and some fillers, and she got some stuff on her nose because Omar headbutted her when he was little, but she should have got a nose job. And I was just like, Jen, a lie don't care who tells it. Use a dang lie. Your chin even gives it away. Your chin, your cheeks, your eye. You've done some. You might get Botox and fillers. I'm not gonna sit here and say that you don't get Botox and fillers, but your face, especially if we saw your before pictures, Jen. Use a lie. You are a plain. You a straight up lie. We saw your before pictures. You don't look the same. You actually, I can't even. I didn't even recognize you like your before pictures. Such a beautiful woman. And let me say this, you guys, because I don't want nobody to think that I am attacking anyone who gets plastic surgery, because I'm not. Because if I could get plastic surgery, I wouldn't. I think I like myself. I don't think there's anything on my face, especially not on my face. There's nothing on my face that I would touch. I would, you know what? The only thing that I would do is get rid of these bags under my eyes. That would be it. But as far as my face, I think nope, wouldn't touch my nose because I don't want to pinch nose. No, nothing I would touch on my face, actually. Only thing if I could get, no. I'm not attacking anybody who gets plastic surgery. If it makes you happy, that's your decision. I'm not attacking that. But I just feel that, I know that they talk to people before they do plastic surgery, but a lot of times when you look at people that you feel that they went overboard with the plastic surgery, it's like, did their doctor not really have counseling with them to make sure that they were doing this for the right reasons? Because when you change your appearance so drastically that people don't recognize you, that's an issue. Because I feel like you don't love yourself enough. Because I feel like people, and again, like I said, I'm not attacking people. If you get plastic surgery, that's your business. If it makes you happy, if it makes you feel good and it makes you happy, I'm cool with it. But I just wonder, for people who drastically change their appearances, I just wonder if it's a self-love thing. Like, did you not love yourself enough? You know what I'm saying? So then they asked the question of Jen, why does she need so many assistants? She says, because, she has so many businesses that she runs. Nah, it's because you need friends. So then Andy asked, what does she do? And she says she's in marketing. I didn't understand what she was talking about, so I can't really give you guys an explanation because I just did not understand what she was talking about. So then, Andy asked her if she and Sharif were having marital issues, and him, she says no, that they weren't. And then a viewer asked a question, since Sharif is not the head coach, why wasn't he around? And Jen's like, well, with him not being the head coach, he had to go out and do recruiting. If he was the head coach, it would be different. And I'm just like, that makes no sense. That still doesn't make any sense. Yes, I get it. I do know that the assistant coaches do some of the recruiting, but how many assistant coaches are there is the first question. And then number two, when your dad died, I don't care if he's the third assistant coach, the fourth, or if he's a head coach. At a job, you have bereavement. So you mean to tell me that man couldn't take 1 day or 2 days to say, hey, we're going to put you guys send somebody else to recruit because my wife's father passed and I need to be at his funeral. I don't know anybody that wouldn't understand that. And if they don't, that's grounds for a lawsuit right there. I just didn't understand it. Like I said, Jen made absolutely no sense. She also has no excuse for her temper tantrums that she has. But, they're talking, and Lisa then chimes in because Mary said that, Jen is triggered when her name is mentioned, which that is 100% the truth. Every time this season anybody mentioned Mary's name, Jen flipped her lid. Jen was worse than a teapot, when it gets hot. Jen was worse than a teapot when it gets hot. It whistles. That was Jen. The thing that bothers me with Jen is because, Andy mentioned her screaming at Heather. Jen doesn't know how to apologize. God. And, that when they were in Vegas, I thought that woman told you an apology does not come with conditions or, it doesn't come with a buts, basically. But this, but that, but, or if this, if that, da 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 da. When you apologize, the best way to apologize, the correct way to apologize is say, you know what? I apologize. That was not my intention. I didn't mean to do that. You're telling me your feelings were hurt. That wasn't my intention to hurt your feelings. That's pretty much the way you apologize. You don't say, if your feelings were hurt, I apologize. If you were offended, I apologize. You say, you know what? I hear what you're saying. You're telling me that I offended you, I hurt your feelings, whatever. I sincerely apologize to you and I hope that you can forgive me. That's an apology, but not that because if you got to say if I apologize, you're invalidating what they're telling you because you're saying if, which means you don't believe that they were offended or hurt or whatever. If this. Yeah, Jen just doesn't know what the meaning of apology is. I'm going to pause here and we're going to move forward. All right, you guys. So we then move over to the situation with Jen and Meredith where, Jen went to her house and Brooke saw her vagina. This is another situation of Jen not knowing how to apologize and not, taking any accountability for anything. Because at one point she said that Brooks got upset at Meredith because Meredith was smoking a cigarette. Oh my God. Jen is insufferable. She's insufferable for real. Like, I don't know how anybody can be friends with the likes of Jen Shah. I just don't understand it. Because Jen doesn't know what accountability is. She doesn't know she doesn't own it. In the words of Lisa Rinna, own it, baby. Like, she doesn't own it. I just don't get Jen. Because I don't even think Meredith really wanted an apology from Jen. I think she just wanted some accountability, anything, acknowledgement. I don't know. But again, like I said, Jen doesn't know the meaning of apology. Jen doesn't even know the meaning of friendship. So Meredith said that Jen said something on social media. Jen said she didn't, but they pulled up the post where she called, she was talking about white privilege. I was just like, oh God, here we go with this. Because didn't she just make an insensitive comment last week about the women being, having their knee in her neck? Jen really thinks she's black. Jen really believes she's black. So the last thing in my notes before we get to the end of my review, Mary was standing her ground. She stood her ground with Lisa, Jen, because at one point she said, Jen, I'm not talking to you, sweetie. I was like, again, I know people don't like Mary, but Mary is actually good for this show, to be quite honest with you guys. Mary is good for this show. Like, I did see some people on Twitter talking about why didn't this Mary show up this whole season? And I'm like, well, the reason that this Mary didn't show up is because this Mary was not originally a full-time cast member. She was a friend of the Housewives until the new production company came in. And once that new production company came in, Shed Media, they brought Mary on as a full-time housewife. I do feel like if in season 2, because I think Mary was, earning her snowflake in this reunion for season 2. Like, Mary was taking ownership of that snowflake, and I really, really do want them to bring Mary back for season 2. Like I said, I know a lot of people don't want Mary back, but I do. She is kooky. She's interesting. And I just want to see more of Mary, honestly. So then, Andy asked the women, can they sympathize with Jen? No. I can't sympathize with Jen. I don't care like, how can I sympathize with someone who said on camera she takes medication, but she drinks as well? You're making the matters worse. You're intensifying things. And Mary, and I was here for Mary. It's like they can sympathize with her, but when she coming at me, they can't. And I'm like, exactly. I think the only two people who said that they understood Mary was not Lisa, but Heather and Whitney. But Meredith didn't say anything, and neither did Lisa. Lisa sat over there and tried to come at Mary, and I really at that point wanted Mary, for Lisa to shut up. But Mary basically was putting Lisa in her place. Like, I loved it. So then we do move over to Lisa, and we discuss Lisa. And again, I don't know what TV show Lisa's been watching, because she wants to blame, Heather and Whitney for everything. But Heather and Whitney, number one, were not in your interviews with the producers. Number two, you gave the producers the footage. They may have edited you in a bad way, but nonetheless, you gave them the footage, and they just edited what you gave them. And what you gave them, we saw a dismissive woman. We saw a mean girl because she didn't want to own up to any of that stuff. But I'm like, but it's on camera. We saw it. Like, we literally saw all this stuff on camera. So you can't deny it because we saw it. Mary they talk about how she comes off. She feels like she's misunderstood. I'm like, I don't know how you feel like you misunderstood. I don't see it. And what else? Mary tells her she's a snob. She told her she was a snob. I agree. And the thing about Lisa is, like I said, she just can't own up to anything. She and Jen are going to be great friends because they're one and the same. Basically, they're one and the same. But you guys, that was part one of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Leave your comments in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification button so you guys are aware when I drop anything else. Share this video. Until the next one, you guys, do me a solid favor. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Wear your mask and socially distance. And I will see you guys tomorrow for what comes on tomorrow? Thursday. Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta. And what else? I think that's it, you guys. Also, you guys, drop down in the description bar, go over there and subscribe to the Planner channel. I just uploaded a video today. It was a walking and talking, me asking some questions. So you guys, go check that out. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.